the City of Angels is black and gold. You are listening to the Heart of LAFC podcast. And now, Joseph Zacher.
Greetings, Los Angeles. Welcome to episode 343. We're going to call this one Thrill Ride. Yep, that's right. You've got your crew from the Heart of LAFC with you today to cover all the madness of LAFC, the ups and the downs. Talk a little Open Cup because it's coming up. Talk about amazing road trips this weekend as we enter Cinco de Mayo weekend and half the 3252 hits buses and planes and any old way up to Santa Clara to make things happen. It's that time. It's road trip time. It's fun. It's good. And of course, it's always nice to do a podcast after a victory. So welcome aboard. Let's make this thing happen. Tony, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm a little tired. I just spent the whole day with my niece and nephew because they're in town, and of course my sister and my brother-in-law. So tired, but also tired from this past weekend's game, which was very stressful. As always, we can't just get an easy win at home. But
you got to get those free sodas from Extra Mile, man. It's got to be that way.
We'll talk about the extra mile that we had to do later on.
Which is why we, of course, call this thing Thrill Ride, because if we win, it has to be dramatic. That's just life. It's got to be that way. Of course, Araceli's on here giving us all the inside information about LAFC 2 and beyond. Araceli, how are you doing tonight?
I'm actually doing very well. Still kind of recovering from a very chaotic weekend. Obviously, well and within the LAFC world. Hey, at least LAFC 2 showed how they can do a solid win at home. To that later. And just for me personally, if you guys haven't been watching the news, the Midwest has just been ravaged with tornadoes this past weekend. Hell, even yesterday, there was one in Missouri. And before anyone asks, yes, this is normal for us with tornado season. In a sense, because typically we wouldn't see this much activity until later this month. But I guess Mother Nature decided to start it early this year.
Yeah, it's been very, very intense. I got family out in Omaha, and yeah, the west side of town got hit pretty hard there. I think there were 17 total tornadoes in the area that were cited. It's insane. But it's the season. It does happen. It's just, man, it hit hard this time. It was an introduction, that's for sure. But everybody's safe. Thank goodness. Everybody's fine. They were thankfully on the other side of town for the most part, so that's working. But there were a lot that weren't fine. We do definitely pray for them. I know Oklahoma got hit pretty bad too, but yeah, it's rough, definitely rough. But it's the classic Midwest vibe, man. You just do it, you roll with it, you got to make it happen, right? I mean, Araceli, right? Life goes on, you move on.
Definitely. It's just kind of one of those things that I don't want to sit here and say that we expect, because obviously that's something you don't really want to see on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully, we are raised to be tornado chasers, I guess. So we're prepared for it.
Exactly. And yeah, always prepare. That's the one thing. And if you've been out there, they're prepared. I mean, every major building, every large building, there's a shelter, there's a way to get safe, and usually there's time to. So except on the roads, that's when it's not so safe. So yeah, again, watch out there. It looks like season's gonna hit full tilt. So we've got Bam. Speaking of being on the road, Bam is checking yet again from the road on his way home from work. The dedication of the man, as always. As you see, he's got a little image down there showing our latest TIFO. So amazing. Bam, how are you doing on the road, sir?
Doing good. It's been a massive week for football and going into a big weekend of football and a big weekend just in general coming up. The A-League just had their final round last weekend, and Central Coast Mariners won the Premier's Plate to begin with, so we're on to our finals. On Sunday, 5 p.m. my time, so midnight Saturday night your time, we have the Melbourne Derby as a knockout final, so it should be interesting. You also, during the week, you had South Melbourne get through to the next round of the Doherty Cup, which is also a part of the Australia Cup, our version of the US Open Cup. And they'll be playing away to Preston Lions, which will be a Greek versus Macedonian derby, which Last time they played was early 2000s, late 90s. Bit of riot police, police on horseback, all the fun stuff.
It's not a party until the riot police show up, I guess. My gosh. Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Yeah, rivalries are what they are, as old or ancient as they may be. I get it. For sure, as long as everybody's okay at the end of the day, right? I mean, bam, that's ultimately it.
Oh yeah, and there's talk that with it being a Preston Lions Macedonian home game, there'll be no South Melbourne supporters allowed in at all.
That does the job. That does the job. Totally got it. Man, so keep us posted on that madness. I know you're gonna hit as many of those crazy ones as you can get to, and I know the food is amazing. So whatever you can get to, man, keep us posted. Get us some pictures up there. It's again the local football scene in Australia looks way more rabid than anything we've got going here outside of the maybe some top flight games. But yeah, it's nuts, and it's there's history. It's good history, kind of like the Greater Los Angeles League here that had a lot of history with the immigrants moving here. But keep us posted, man. It looks fun. Looks crazy.
I will keep you all posted, and the game should also be live streamed on YouTube, so I'll make sure to put that up for everyone that want to watch. They can.
There we go. There we go. All right. So we've got that. I think the only thing we got for breaking news or news of the day is probably the season ticket holder open practice, which was a blast. Thank you for the club for doing that. Those who went, we didn't get a whole lot, but we got enough in the midweek. I mean, that's kind of tough on a Tuesday, but it was well attended. Like I said, under the circumstances, seeing all the players, meeting so many of them because all of them were available for autographs post game and selfies in many cases was pretty cool. It was nice to see who was standing out in training. It seemed like a pretty light setup the way they were doing it. They weren't giving up too much. More of a transition type of practice was the focus for this one. So that was kind of cool to see how that developed from small to big. It's a nice vibe. The goalkeepers, even Lloris was involved in those plays. He was definitely playing with his feet for this one. Was nice to see. It was an interesting vibe. I will say this: Mr. Tillman seems to be enjoying life a lot right now and on point. The swagger is there, that is for sure, and it was a joy to watch him play, even in practice and the way he approaches the game because he's doing it right. That's for sure. Also nice to see Angel. They look dialed in, guys. Future looked pretty bright seeing the mix of the LAFC2 players and the LAFC players at the training session. Which I know, Araceli, you're like, what? Yeah, there's definitely some LAFC2 integration for the guys that have been moving back and forth. They were in this training session. That was good to see. Also seeing Long. Now, Long wasn't fully integrated into the full training, but he was running at decent pace and training to the fullest. He was there on his way to recovery, and it was nice to see him putting in, the time he was doing. He is, of course, separated at the moment, but I think for all of us that saw what happened to him, the game he did get hurt, to see how far along he is in getting back to it, he doesn't look that far off. He really doesn't. And so that was very good to see. But again, thankful for the club for doing something like this because they've never done anything like it before, at least not on a weekday, right? So that was nice. It was really a good change of pace if we're talking about supporter or fan events. Good on them for doing it, for sure. And for all you guys that said hi that were there, good on you guys as well for checking in. It was cool. So yes, got questions about the training session, definitely in the comments, fire away and have fun. Or if you were there, tell us you were there. It's good for sure. Beyond that, of course, I know there's other teams doing a lot of work and doing well in Champions League. I'm not going to dwell on those guys too much as well because they broke our hearts, and that's just how it's going to be. And that's kind of it. Beyond that, of course, it's the game. And the game against Portland, which was completely bonkers in the most entertaining way, frustrating at times, but at the end of the day, hey, if you're on the right side of it, you'll take all the drama because it works. So let's get into it and get into our recap today. There we go. All right. So, of course, LAFC played it to a 3-2 victory against the Portland Timbers. It was an interesting lineup because of injuries. I know we thought Murillo might not play in this game. He did play. He was taken off the injured list right before, thank goodness. And so he did feature. Chanot, of course, was a center back that lined up with him for this game. I think we're all going to have a lot to say about Chanot in this episode because, boy, we got a good one here. Palencia was on the right. Hollingshead was on the left. Of course, Lloris was in goal. Our midfield consisted of Sanchez, Tillman, Atuesta, because Mr. Atuesta was back. Yeah, right. We always need him out there. Bogush up top with Olvera and Boanga. So again, most of the lineup was pretty typical, but we didn't know what the center back pairing was going to be under the circumstances because Maria was coming back from an injury, right? He looked good. He looked fine. Looked great in training this week too. So I think it was just one of those precautionary things where they listed him until they didn't have to anymore. That was our lineup. Their lineup, again, no surprises. 4-2-3-1. What? Yeah, that's it. Max was back in goal for this one as expected. He definitely had a good response from the crowd when he came in. Of course, always respectful to us, and many of us were respectful to him. So there's that. Araujo and Miller were the center backs. Mosquera and Bravo were the outside backs. They had Chara and Williamson controlling the midfield with Moreno as their attacking midfielder. They had Anthony and Rodriguez as their outside attacking mids. And of course, Mora was the target man up top. I think we mentioned what the lineup was probably going to be. Yeah, pretty typical, pretty predictable as to what they were going to do. So all they had to do was play the match, which brings it to Tony and his highlights and lowlights. Again, a tale of two halves, guys. I think that's what we need to focus on. Tony will tell you that now. It was beautiful in the first half. Let's be honest. A little physical, but still pretty wild one. Go for it.
Yeah, it was a beautiful second half. We not necessarily dominated, but dominated most of the first half. There was a goal called back with Dennis Buona kind of sight chipping Max Kripo a little bit, but it was called back because of a handball. As on the turn, it still tucked in, but not tucked in enough to warrant it to play on, which was also very odd because it was right in front of the referee. So the referee was right in front of it, couldn't call it, but ended up calling on VAR. Didn't hear. I don't know if it's because we're in the north end and chanting is a thing and it's loud there, so we can't hear the announcement sometimes. But it was called of what happened and why it was called back. But we did get redemption in the 44th minute with Denny with Buanga pretty much on the left wing, just blazing it down, makes a nice strong pass into the middle, and with Oliveira waiting for it in tow to who knows, maybe score it, maybe miss it. We don't know. We never got the opportunity because you know how Oliveira has been this season. But Kamal Miller puts it into the post to put us up 1-0. And in the 45th plus 4th minute, in extra time, Mr. Timothy Tillman with a nice strike hitting the post to bounce in and putting us up 2-0 to close the half.
Can't complain about a precision strike right at the death, right? I mean, right at the end. Talk about what usually would be a dagger. Of course, this game was a little different, but the timing couldn't be any better, right? To put one in the net, get off the field, and move on the high note. Pressure did produce the first goal. There should have been more. We know this. We were all over these guys. Our potential is so huge, but again, we kind of limit ourselves at the moment. I'll go to you, Araceli. Your thoughts on the handball? I mean, it seemed pretty justified to you or not?
That's kind of a hard to tell. I feel like it kind of is in a sense, considering how kind of the pace of game was going, but it's just one of those calls that you could debate it either way.
Yeah, I mean, it came off as inadvertent, right? But I guess because of the way the body motion was, it did provide some advantage. I guess that's the purpose of it is yeah, it wasn't handled, but yeah, the contact did give an advantage. Kind of weird, kind of odd at where it came down, but That's the way they do things these days. Not like the old days, that's for sure. Bam, are you kind of livid on that one, or you kind of get it as well?
I do kind of get it as well. It's one of the things where it's like, by the letter of the law, yes, it was a handball. But with the way the play was going, all that kind of stuff, that's when it could have been let go. But, it is what it is. With the second goal, I'm going to say this now. One thing I've been saying for a lot this season and a lot last year and the year before, shoot from outside the box. Look what can happen.
Right, right. Make the goalie make the save. Right at the end of the day, force it.
100%.
Makes sense.
You never know what's going to happen from outside the box. And that looks like it was a drawn-up play for that situation, and it worked out perfectly.
And if you've watched Tillman in warmups, if you've watched him in training, the man he knows how to shoot from the outside. There is no question. He has one of the best touches on the ball when he's striking it. I mean, hard touch on the ball. Yeah, the capability is there. It's just confidence at the end of the day. And right now, he is at this level of confidence I've never seen him at before, ever, ever. This is his high point, I gotta say. Hopefully, he just keeps going, keeps rising. But he really is comfortable in his own shoes, in his own role. He's owning it now, and we're all lucky to see it. That's for sure. Keep going, man. Keep it up, because it's beautiful. Let's move on to that second half. I know how great the first half went. The second half got funky. Go for it, Tony.
Yeah, the second half kind of got funky on both sides, but mostly for us on both sides because in the 65th minute, Mr. Jonathan Rodriguez had a nice opportune goal that he put away. It was a missed defender kind of play. If you saw like not marking, unfortunately, bad touch from Maxine Chenot. If I said that, and bad clearance and right to Rodriguez or Moreno, quote unquote. That's who the assist was to, but it was honestly the bad touch by Chino that kind of caused that goal. And then I'll say this once. Chara, after mentioning this, I don't mention yellow cards that much, but this wasn't important. Chara got a yellow card in the 72nd minute. And then off a deflection, Monroe ends up scoring a goal off a deflection. Again, like mistiming, slow to the play with Villiers, and then the deflection puts it in, which Lloris couldn't do anything about it. He was just kind of caught off guard, and we are tied 2-2. But in the 76th minute, as Atuesta was trying to get down the field, stole it back, could have had a opportunity for a 2v1, 2v2 with the keeper. Chara grabbing Atuesta, which was the first part, and then kind of flinging his body in, gets another yellow card, which is his second of the game, putting them, which is a automatic red, and putting them down to 10 men for them. And we couldn't really capitalize after that. Honestly, it looked like there was 11 men because from what LAFC was playing, like there was a fight, but there was no conviction, I guess is the best way to finish the game, until the 92nd minute of the game, off a kind of corner kick, bounce out, very scramble ball. Mr. Bouanga, Mr. like finisher of stressful games, ends up hitting a nice cracker from the left side, hitting the post, going in, and then Mueller comes in the 96th minute, but it was a couple of minutes extra overtime is the best way of extra time because of a foul that happened before on our end of the time, and the referee wouldn't have called it in an additional 2 minutes that we had to deal with us yelling at the ref to call time because there was nothing going on, but they try to keep Portland in it. At the end of the day, that's how it goes. But ended up getting the 3 points at home against Portland, going away with one of our rivals is a good feeling, but still stressful at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think the second half again is just a story of not getting a finish and just bad freaking bounces. Um, the Chanot situation, I mean, dude, it was again a scramble, and you give Jonathan Rodriguez half a chance, he will burn you. There's no question, right? Especially top of the box. That's bread and butter for this guy. So yeah, we suffered on that one, and then at the deflected goal, it was a total deflection on the in the 73rd minute. I just unlucky, to be honest. Just an unfortunate situation to put us in a bad spot. We had to fight our way through this thing, and thankfully we did. The Blanca glancing the post finish. I mean, again, perfect highlight, perfect made for television vibe. As loud as it got, it was past 100 decibels at that point in the stadium. It was it's pretty fun to be a part of that. Uh, but man, the guy leaves it to be dramatic. He digs it, that's for sure. Um, could have been done easier, but hey, if we got to win it the hard way, at least we're winning it. So we'll take that. Bam, your thoughts on the match?
Happy to get the 3 points. As I was saying to you guys off air, 2-0 at halftime is the worst scoreline in football. Always dramatics after that. A couple of areas we could have been better on, but overall, the 3 points is what we needed. It's what we got.
Right. Job done. Simple as that. Araceli, your thoughts on the results and yeah, cautionary tale yet again for LAFC.
I mean, it's always going to be a cautionary tale, no matter who they face. But for me, I'm just happy to see that LAFC was able to get the job done, even though it wasn't the prettiest in the sense. But giving, if you're comparing it to a certain hometown that couldn't do it, I'm happy. Trust me, I am so relieved that LAFC got the 3 points because they needed it. They definitely needed that boost, considering how the last couple of matches have played out. And Bawanga, watching him get that goal just made it even more amazing. I'm just glad that he's still able to finish, because where the heck has that been for the last couple weeks?
Yeah, he needed it. That's for sure. Especially from that distance, that angle. It seems to be he loves that. It's like kind of his office this season. So he loves being over there. Well, that's okay. Guys have their preferences. That's a good place to be, especially on dead ball situations. Yeah, clean it up, finish it. We'll take it. We'll definitely take it. Some standouts I'd say in this game. Again, Chanot had his moments. For the most part, though, I will say his distribution, his organization in the back, we got ourselves a starter. I don't think there's any question of it. And then when Long does come back, it's going to raise some serious questions for Dolo as to who actually gets into the starting lineup here, because you have 3 starters. You simply do. How you're going to rotate it, how you're going to manage it. Well, I know you got to wait till about June for that to happen, but it's real. I mean, Chanot's owning it. That's for sure. And if you look at pecking order, of course, Segura, he'd be on the bottom of that list at this point, right? He didn't raise up. Chanot did. And so it's nice to have a player of his experience. He'll get better as time moves. Things will work better for him, right? Getting more comfortable with the side. But yeah, he's a special player. We got to steal with him in our lineup. That's for sure. And of course, Murillo is Murillo. This is one of his, I'd say, better games. But still, a 3-2 is tough, right? We'll talk about defense 11-2. Not the greatest situation. Tony, your overall impressions of the match?
Overall, it was a hot fought win. Sorry, I'm still a little dazed and energy deprived from my niece and nephews. They're 3 and 5, so they took every bit of energy that I had. So apologies if I'm not 100%. Usually ain't, but they literally drained me to 1%. Overall, it was good. It was gladly we have to win these dirty games, these like trench in the trenches games, because these are the ways we overall win a championship. We learned that our first time we won it, because we can win pretty, but if you can't win dirty or hard or tough, then you're not winning the championship when it comes down to it. But overall, still a lot of improvement. We are no longer the beginning of the season. We're in the midway point of everything. especially with summer coming in. Like, I understand we're waiting on a couple players to come in, but I'd rather be in a better situation. Yes, we are in the playoffs, but I'd rather have home field advantage going into All-Star break, I guess.
Well, good news, and since you mentioned the standings and since you mentioned where things are at, this week, if results fall our way, we could find ourselves in second place of all places. It's actually possible. I know that's how tight the West is this time around. Real Salt Lake's going crazy. We know this. It's been pretty wild for their story. I wonder why. But on our end, as topsy turvy as it's been, as much of a thrill ride as it's been, it doesn't take long to get up there. This is that tight. So every week matters. I have a feeling it's going to be like this for pretty much the season. That pulling away is going to be very difficult in the Western Conference, especially as certain tournaments close out, right? Breaks come around because of other tournaments. Yeah, the one advantage for us is we don't have anything crazy outside of Open Cup to worry about. So fatigue isn't quite there for us as it is for others already, which is an advantage. Hopefully, we do something with that. This weekend is that big moment. We will cover that, of course, as we play the last place Earthquakes. Now, we're not the only team celebrating this week. The top side did great, but guess what? The second one did as well. FC2 had a great result this weekend, so I'm going to throw this over to Araceli. How are things in the land of LAFC2?
LAFC 2 is actually doing very well. They stay unbeaten at home as the kids chop down Timbers 2-0 at Titan Stadium, and moving them back up in the standings to just below Ventura and second place by 2 points, tied with Tacoma. So just as you were saying that the West is very close for MLS, just as close as it is for Next Pro. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to look at the standings, but we finally released them this morning. And to see how close each team is together, this is going to be a wild season. I'm already calling it. But back to LAFC 2. Again, we saw another stacked roster with Rosales and Segura as a center back pairing, along with Tomas Angel, Mueller, and Ordaz in front, Duenas in the middle. The boys, they came out swinging, logging in a total of 14 shots, 4 on goal with 8 clearances. In the 40th minute, Ratsovitz, excuse my mispronunciation, he's taken down inside the penalty area. LAFC2 is awarded the penalty. Angel converts for the lead and gets his first goal in Next Pro competition. Throughout the match, it was more of LAFC2 just trying to find how to break through the defense. They did have some attempts, but goalkeeper,
Yeah.
he was alert. Let's put it that way. But moving on to the 79th minute, an LAFC2 sequence leads to our dads gaining the ball from Bambino. He sends the pass over to Adrian with Bowo, who then whips it into the lower left corner to call the game in the 79th minute. LAFC2 is back on the road as they travel to Salt Lake to face Real Monarchs this Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. The match will be streamed on MLS Next Pro. And given that we're only 8 weeks in now with the season, just how I kind of alluded with the standings, I think this season is going to be, definitely one to kind of keep an eye on, especially with LAFC2. I know I've been saying this time and time again, but they have shown a huge improvement, especially in the Gonzalez era thus far. And to see where they go from here, I'm very excited, honestly.
It's nice to be in the mix, isn't it? To be competitive, to have a chance. I mean, again, we beat the team that's ahead of us in the standings. We did pretty handily. Right? We handled those guys, no problem. Playing, Real this week is a really good opportunity, you know. And a total turnaround so far. So far. We'll take it though. I mean, they look well organized. There's purpose there. You can see the development already for the top side that every week LAFC2 is playing, it's helping those guys that are actually jumping back and forth. You see it in the training sessions. Those who went saw how good those two you mentioned are playing. It's legit. It's the right way. They're playing the system that's similar. Yeah, it's exactly what you need from your second side. So, yes, last year was growing pains, right? Getting things established. Now, legit, it's on. It's on. That's for sure. So yeah, good news there. Let's see. I think Bam was off and back on again. Let's fix his setup there. There we go, Bam. I think we can hear you. You there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you. Heard about the LAFC2 situation and how good things are looking. Angel getting on the board for the first time. Could this be a precursor to what we might see on the weekend? Maybe we're going to see something special from this guy pretty soon.
Hopefully, I like it having the LAFC2 playing Portland 2. That's always
right. The connection of the two teams, right? The first and second both getting action, right?
Yeah, because that way too, especially on away trips, you can take the whole team together. You've got the twos there to fill in for an injury that might take over and to go from there.
Yeah, this week I've got again a little bit harder because they got to head to Salt Lake, so there is a departure there, which could affect the lineup. That's for sure. We'll see what happens with that, and who actually gets on the plane for that. If anybody's going to do a quick flight across, I don't think it's going to work out that way. Could. Man, they're going to log some flight miles. That's for sure. If that's the case, so we shall see. Yeah, it's on. All right. So I see there's about 8 comments from you guys. I want to jump on that before we get into community news. Let's see what the faithful are up to today. Let's go. Slowly but surely. And who's the first on? We have Burke. Hey, Burke 48 is the first comment of the day. It says, what a match Saturday. It feels like everything is starting to click with the team. 3 points from first. It's there, guys. LFG. Jose Bernal, let's go. I know he's heading to San Jose. That's for sure. Dave Gomez says, morning, LAC Familia. There we are. Jose Bernal says, the practice was good, except when Bouanga starts shooting the goal and misses. Yeah, that was pretty funny. They started peppering the supporters in the back who were simply just watching practice. Tillman did it a few times too. Incoming. It was pretty funny to watch. And they weren't even taking it that serious. They were just winging the ball. So yeah, that was funny. Let's see. Ox says you want to stop by, say love y'all, have a good one, Familia, good night, and God bless, and stay safe, Ox, because I know it ain't so easy in Wichita. We've seen it, that's for sure. But good to hear that you're safe. You're doing okay. We've got Dave on here. 3 points is 3 points. Exactly. Jose Bernal also says we need to keep home on win, capital W. Home is a must. Yeah, home field advantage is everything in MLS these days. Playoffs especially, you need to have that leg at home. It's done. Dave Gomez says, wait until the lads put it all together for a full match. They're a few tweaks away. I mean, look at it. They're starting to gel. Defensively, I guess we can ask some questions, but they're starting to gel. They're creating opportunities. When you start bringing in the world-class guys into the mix and those opportunities are still getting created for them, get ready for some fireworks. It's going to be beautiful. We got to be patient, right? But at the same time, the kids are all right. It's working out. It will work out. Diego Mancia says, hello, everyone. Long-time listener, first time here on the chat. I'm happy you jumped on. Don't hesitate. Again, we love the comments from you guys. So welcome, Diego, to the madness. We look forward to hearing more from you. All right, those are the comments for now. I know we'll get more as we preview San Jose, because, again, it is a fun type of rivalry in a way, you could say. Of course, Dave's giving the sign. There we go. Love it, man. All right, let's get to that community news. I know, Tony, you got a few things to share with us. What is going on in the community, sir?
So for the first one, we'll start with the community, and then, of course, since we are away game, go on to the watch parties. So first, 3252 membership is still available. If you haven't signed up, please do. It helps with supporter groups get their numbers. Also helps out flags, tifos, away day tickets, everything like that. So there are 3 tiers. So if you're able to be able to join, you get a cool scarf pin, and then cut a couple different goodies depending on how far your tier is to tier 3. To tier 2, of course, is a beanie. Tier 3 is a beanie and a clear bag because of the clear bag policy at BMO Stadium. Also, the 2024 art show with Black Army, AIM, and 3252 is still coming upon us on June 30th. Submissions are still available. It's a showcase on Los Angeles. Whether you were born or raised here, it still makes you feel like home. So any painting, sculptures, photography, any mediums are welcome. So just reach out to bagivesback@gmail.com. Also, the Mo Fazio futsal court is still going on. So if you can go to lafc.com/mo-fazio and donate whatever you can to finally build this court, because it's been going on for a while and we need to get to the goal and finally get this going. Now, since the game is away, it is in San Jose. I know there are some traveling people going up there. Please be responsible out there. Drink responsibly as well. So for those who are not going, you can also go to watch parties, which Expos and TSG will be at La Cita Bar, 336 South Hill Street, Los Angeles, California, 913. Cuervos and D9 will be at Best Balls at 6331 Woodley Boulevard, Lake Balboa, California, 91406. Empire Boys will be at, I didn't have a mention of the place, but they did have an address, which is 1002 6th Street, Rancho Cucamonga. Black Army will be at Mount Low Brewing Co. at 150 East Street, Joseph Street, Arcadia, California, 91006. Crew and Luckies will be at Las Serenas at 9040 Salina Avenue, Pico Rivera, California. And Pride will be at High Tops, Los Feliz at 1714 North Vermont, California, 927. And that is all for community news.
There we go. Keep it up. Keep it up. Go to the watch parties. Enjoy them. If you're not taking the road trip, those making the road trip, of course, stay safe, stay smart. Do what you got to do. Come back safe at the end of the day. We'll cover that more, of course, as we get into the San Jose match. Of course, that leaves us with what? That's right. The Vinyl Club Minute, Black and Gold Vinyl Club Minute. There's 2 ways I'd want to go with this one. First one, of course, we always want to go to a band that's kind of from the area that we compete against. In this case, well, one of my all-time favorite bands is from up there. So I'm like, yeah, we'll run this. We'll go old school this time. So in this case, I'm going to go with Creedence Clearwater Revival, right? Album Cosmos Factory from 1970. There was a single related to that album. They basically had Traveling Band and Who Will Stop the Rain. I figured that was absolutely perfect, knowing that I think it might rain this weekend for you guys that are heading up that way. And of course, there's a giant traveling band heading that way, known as the 3252, of course. Again, for my travelers, that's why I wanted to go with CCR this week. I think that's a pretty good fit. And yeah, definitely. And of course, Dwayne Eddy passed away this week. So Rebel Rouser, if you know the song, you know the song. Definitely look into that as well. He was 86, passed away on Tuesday. Again, rock history. Twang with the guitar, I'm telling you. Yeah, that's when you want to check as well. So that's what I'm going with. Yeah, 2 of them this week. Going with a double. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. All right, let's get into the preview. Before I do that, though, I think Bam's trying to jump back on. Hopefully we can get him here. Let's try this again, Bam. Can you hear us as we get into this preview?
Can hear you perfectly. Let's get into the preview and let's smash these Smurfs.
Smash the Smurfs, as we love to do, of course. Cautionary again, because the Smurfs have a way of stepping up against us. They do. We've had moments where we've destroyed them as well, but they're a bit of a thorn in our side at times. And yes, they're having another rough year because that's what San Jose seems to do best in the modern era. They're coming in this game with a 1-1-8 record. Wow, guys, you rock. 4 total points on the season. Of course, we've got a 4-3-3 record, 15 points. May I warn you, this could be a trap game because, well, it's freaking San Jose. Game will be at 4:30. That's right, May 4th. Oh, yeah, there's another holiday that day too, right? Uh, right, Tony? Right? May 4th is important.
No,
You agree?
May 4th is not important. In the US it is, but it's
No,
Go
no,
on.
May the
Oh
4th be
yeah.
with you, man. Come
Yeah,
on
well,
now.
May 4th, yeah.
Jeez, this guy.
I'm
Yeah.
tired, sir. I apologize. My brain is not fully working. I had kids jumping on me, pulling me every which way direction, so I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about May 5th.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah. It's not Independence Day, people. Come on now.
Mhm.
Yeah, May the 4th be with you. I thought the 4th was stronger with him, but I guess not. We love you anyway, Tony. It's okay. Yeah. So May the 4th, for all you Star Wars fans, yes, go enjoy the game, and if you want to go crazy with May the 4th, go for it. But yes, May the 4th, 4:30 p.m. Here we go. Again, looking at San Jose again, 1-1-8, and if you look at the record, they did get a point last week against Nashville on the road. Kind of a big deal, I guess. Other than that, they allowed basically like 3 to 4 goals every game. From what I'm seeing, it's been pretty rough for them. There is some improvement, and I think Bam, you probably know about the player that they're bringing in, so I'll throw it to you. Let's go right to it. Players to watch, Bam. Did you saw who they signed this week or last week?
To be honest, I haven't. It's been
Okay.
flat out of work.
Well, I'll throw it out there. They signed Hernan Lopez from Argentina, a proper attacking midfielder that they've needed for a while. He's a new DP. Transfer fee around $6 million with incentives that could be up to $7 million if he performs. That's a lot of dough for a player. For San Jose, let's be real, to try to solve their issues, right? They need to make some changes. This is, I guess it is a record deal for them. So, yes, that is one guy to look out for. Of course, other familiar names. Now, there is one that always hurts us. Tony knows, right? Jeremy Ebobisse, sorry. Always is trouble. This year, he's got 3 goals already this year. So, again, he's still producing in a team that's not so hot. Benjamin Kikanovic, 2 goals on the season so far. Vitor Costa, and of course, Christian Espinoza, he's got 1. Again, goals haven't been flowing for these guys when your leading scorer has a total of 3. Christian Espinoza, of course, is their top assist man. He's got 5 assists so far after 10 games played. After that, it kind of drops. Jack Skahan's got 2, Bruno Wilson's got 2, and then a bunch got 1. But again, if you look at the scoring and how deep they go in the lineup, it's not so great. Scoring is a problem for these guys, which is why you would bring in an attacking midfielder. Now, possible lineups, if you look at what they did against Nashville, could be similar to this. It was a 4-3-3. How similar to us. Yarbrough was back in goal, as expected. They got the veteran back there. Beeson and Rodriguez were their center backs. Acapo and Costa were their outside backs. Gruesa was their creative midfielder with Yule and Sarkis. I think I said that right. Their other midfielder. Espinosa and Kikanovic were your outside mids, with, of course, Ebobisse as the target man. Again, this could change right this week. Subs to come in eventually. I think Skahan got time. Judd, we know Judd. Pellegrino came in, and Paul Marie, again, veteran player for them. All got minutes in this game. But again, 4-3-3. If you go the week before that against Carson, same story, just a little bit different in the lineup. In this case, Rodriguez and Beeson, of course, were the center backs. Acapo Costa outside backs. Yul Gresso to Clark is same midfielder. Judd was up top this game. So that was your big difference in this match, of course. Guess who he came out for? Yeah, Ibobase. So, yeah, no real shock as to what we've seen from them. We've seen these lineups before. We've seen this team before. We know what they bring to it. We know it's going to be rough. We know it's probably going to be dirty. They do step up when they play us, as bad as they are. The talisman for us usually against them has been historically Vela, who's gone. But hey, these guys need to step up, and they've got a team where we can really do something against them. Yeah, it has to give. If you're asking what they're going to bring to the game, well, they struggle. So expect a hard one. I think that would be the basics on this setup. Araceli, you had a good chance to watch these guys. I mean, it's kind of one that you don't turn to right away, you know?
I'll admit I haven't had a chance to like really study them lately, but based on what I've seen club record wise, they haven't been the most favorable team. They remind me kind of the Rapids from last season in a sense,
Yeah.
but it's like with any other team. You just still can't underestimate them. Would I go as far as to call it a trap game? Potentially, but it really depends on what kind of lineup we put out.
A trap game on May the 4th. Oh, Lord. I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there. Bam, your thoughts on this match, your concerns on this match. Do you expect them to step up against us as they typically do?
Oh yeah, like as you said, it's a trap. We got to do what we got to do. They always play against us as though it's a cup final, which for them it is, especially this year of how horrendous they are and how horrendous they will be no matter who they sign. But just always remember, Mike D will always be there to crush them.
Exactly. Now, we'll say this, when they did play against Carson, again, it was a 4-3 in Carson. And, there was a red card to Zavaleta in the 70th minute. Of course, they got a penalty and almost came back in this game. But still, the potential is there because of rivalry, right? That's what gives them that opportunity and what they do step up for. So expect a rough one. Should our quality win the day? Yeah, we got to finish the job though, and that's always been our battle. Now, what is our lineup going to look like? What is LAFC going to provide in this game that's going to get us across the line? I think that's the bigger story right now as we deal with injuries, shuffle things a bit, maybe give guys some minutes as we play the last place team in the West. That's a bigger question. Of course, could it be bench different than last week? That's the bigger one. So I'm going to go to you to Araceli first. Back line. Last time it was Chanot and Murillo, Palencia, Hollingshead. Do you see any changes to that back line?
I would love to see Segura in the mix or try to mix it up a little, but and that's just based on me watching him with LAFC too and how he's been playing with them. Of course, this is just wishful thinking, but knowing Dola like we do, I don't see any change.
No, it'll be hard to see a change. I think, Tony, you agree as well, right? I mean, why change it if it's working?
Yeah, I wouldn't change it at all. Like honestly, like it's working at the moment, and don't as much as I agree with you, Segura. I don't think Segura is like steady Eddie at the moment. He's more like unsteady Eddie.
He's definitely off by a step. I'll say that. A little bit off. That's for sure. Bam, what do you think? What do you think about the back line?
The back line's got to be Dolo's plan A, which is don't change.
Right, nothing new. Now, I'll throw it to you on the midfield situation, Bam. What's your midfield looking like this week?
Again, Dolo plan A, don't change. That's Wester, Tillman, Ilya. That at the moment is our best mid, so that's what you got to do.
If they can strap on the boots, put them on the field. There you go. I think we have agreement from panel here. Maybe Tony. Tony, you think there might be a difference here in the midfield?
No. I do not believe so, honestly. Like I know like people want to hear hot takes, but kind of the midfield's a solid one. Again, it's more of a question of what our defense is going to be and what our midfield's going to be, or our forwards are going to be.
There's your story. There it is. Yeah, I don't think it's going to change either. A top line as well. Again, Bouanga, Bogusz, Oliveira. If you saw Bogusz in training, if you've seen Bogusz playing, there is no way you're not going to play this guy in that role unless somebody unseats him and shows that they need to. Sorry, that's just how it is. He's the guy. The only guy to me that seems to be the weakest link up top, of course, I think we're all agreeing on this, is Oliveira. Not because of work rate, not because of positional play. It's that thing we need, the finishing. And of course, the crossing situation. He did it again last game. I keep seeing him doing over again. He's just hitting and hoping. You know, it was a few times where he did it where it's like, where's that ball even going, man? It's behind everybody. And you're just like, did you watch the flow? Did you know, he's still doing that. And we know he's capable of more, but maybe it's frustration a little bit. Aristotle, I jump back to you on this one. Frontline seems to be the same, but do you think there's a chance Silvera could get, limited minutes because of his current performances?
I don't see any change at all, but I think there is a good chance we could see a little bit more of Oliveira. Personally, I would like to see more of Mueller, at least for the second half, because every time we've seen him, it's only been like a flash that he's out on the field. I don't think he's played any more than 5 minutes total throughout 2 matches. So I would love to see him and our dads get more minutes.
Yeah, now I can tell you again from that little training session all of us got to see, Muller's legit. Like legit mixed in, stands out, to be honest. High technical ability. I would love to see him get some minutes. On Hell too. I mean, reality check here. We have a guy that can play the role. I honestly want to see them more than I want to see Kamara in the moment. That's for sure. And we love Kai Kamara, no doubt. But sometimes you want to see a little bit of the speed. You want to see what the kids can do and give them the minutes and see what they can work out of this thing. I know Martinez is still out. Okay. I don't think that's going to change this week. But man, yeah, we want to see the kids. Tony, do you think there's a chance we might see the kids before we see Kamara, or is that your standard substitution that we'd all expect?
I think we see Kamara before we see the kids, to be honest. He's searching for the tying goal, and then after that, he's going for the all-time record.
Second.
Yeah. Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like after that, after he ties it, goes for the all-time record because it's like that's a Forsaken. It's like getting the last hump over to get the second all-time scorer, and then going after Wondolowski. It's gonna be the next part.
It's a lot of goals, though.
Yeah, but hey, you never know. This could be the springboard that we need to do that again. But so I expect that. I honestly, in a weird sense, like I know we want Mueller to come in, but I feel like he's gonna sign a first team contract in the next coming days or weeks, and then he'll get the start after that.
I mean, hopefully he does look the part. I'm really excited about what he's going to bring to this, because legit, he looks it. He does look it. So we'll see what happens there. Now it brings it to the next thing. We know what our potential lineup's going to be. We know what our potential subs are going to be. It's been pretty predictable from our side. We know where the strengths are. We know who's leading. Performance. What has to be done in this game? What do they have to accept? What do they have to do to get across the line? I think that's the big one. And I go right back to you on this, Tony. What do you need to see from the guys to get a result up in Santa Clara?
Just honestly, what we did against Portland in the first half, not what we needed to do in the second half. So very consistent with the ball, controlling all rounds of play, and from the defense to the midfield to the front line. Again, finishing the goals and the chances. Yes, there were still some missed opportunities, but finishing those ones. And then on top of that, the last thing, which was the problem with the second half, is closing the game down. Because yes, it is a San Jose home game, but it's not at home. It's at a different venue. And so we need to capitalize on that. Mind you, again, yes, it is in San Jose. There are going to be San Jose fans. But as we saw with, I'll just bring this up to European football and everything like that. As you saw Barcelona, they did not play at home. The team was decent enough to make a good enough run to win La Liga, but that home cooking, that home crowd, that home everything is a big factor, let's be honest.
Well, we haven't really put it together on the road this year at all. Reality check. We have not put it together properly on the road. We haven't. It's not the same team. It hasn't looked like the same team this year when we go on the road. Something's got to give. I did like, and I will say this, the substitution later in the second half where Tuesta dropped low, right? That little switch, I think, was a spark for us. It was well timed. It was a good move. It freed up Bogus to play more of a midfield role and then opened up the striker position to a more natural striker. It might be something we need to do earlier in this game. It might be effective in that game. Ilie does the job. He does the job. But for a little spark, a little offensive spark, if necessary, that's actually a good. It seemed to be a really good move in the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens a little earlier in this week's match. So we shall see. Araceli, any other things you need to see from the boys this week outside of execution?
I think Tony covered it very well because honestly, it's very easy to sit here and say we don't want to see them making any silly mistakes, but truly, it just comes down to consistency, making the runs, finishing, and just avoiding any defensive errors if possible. Because that is something that I don't know if you guys have noticed, or it's just my imagination. But anytime it seems that there's a missed opportunity or a defensive error, it's like if all the energy is just shucked out of the team. And then they just kind of deflate from there, unfortunately. So as long as they can keep the momentum going, I think that's just the primary thing we want.
Agreed. Yeah, keep their heads. Essential. And I'll throw this to you, Bam, as the final thoughts on this match itself. What are you expecting from the team? What's going to be the necessary changes to make a turnaround on the road?
We obviously do need to change how we play on the road because it's been horrendous this year. What I want to see us do, step on the throat and don't let go. Once you get them down, do not go easy. I want 5-0, I want 6-0. I want to smash them into the turf, make them wake up and go, did that just happen? I want us to be relentless and just smash them and hit the foot on their throats for the whole game.
Yeah, I mean, again, they're going to be transitioning possibly a new player in the lineup. We'll see. You have to take advantage of this team. You've got to do the job. I know they can be dangerous. We know this. We've had those moments, but I'm with you, man. They got to come in with killer instinct. That's what we need for this game. It's got to be treated like a playoff match because they're going to treat it like a playoff match. If you don't match that intensity, you're going to be in trouble on the day. You don't want that ambush. That's for sure. All right. Good stuff from all of you. I know there's about 10 more comments from our supporters. Let's go back to the faithful and see what they've got lined up here. Smalls is laughing a bit about it's a trap, right? May the 4th. There's that one. Soccer USA says, how would you rate Oliveira from beginning of season to now? I'll be honest, because I'm a little brutal on it. I'd say 6.5 out of 10. He has a role. He's doing kind of the role, but the big part, what we pay him to do, right? Service, finishing. It's not there. It's not showing up yet, and we're kind of in the same broken record situation where we're seeing the same exact performance week in and week out. I've seen no difference. Araceli, what are your thoughts?
I feel like that's kind of a trick question in a way. He needs to improve, plain and simple.
Yeah, he's going to be out of a spot if he keeps it up. I mean, not like he's not putting in the work rate. We know he is. He's putting in the work. It's just the performance just isn't there. It isn't when we know it. I'm sure he knows it. He's a competitive guy. He wants to do better. You know that, but it just hasn't happened yet. Soccer USA also says, question for Araceli. What is the biggest difference in playing style from LAFC to this year compared to last year? Is it personal or coaching or what is it?
Consistency. Definitely consistency in the roster because that is something we definitely saw last season with LAFC consistently, calling up players to the first team, whether they actually played or would be on the bench. We more or less saw it, especially during Open Cup and Leagues Cup, which is not to say that won't happen again this season, of course. But I have noticed that given that there's been a consistent roster for the last 8 weeks with a few minor changes, has definitely shown that the boys have had a chance to gel as a team, to work as a team, and especially when you throw in Gonzalez in the mix with his past experience, he knows how to coach this team. He knows how to give them advice. I'll admit, this is something I do want to ask the team in the coming weeks when the time comes, but just on a base level, you can see it on a personal, especially for the players like Babino and Santiago, who came up through the LAFC Academy. They want this uh, opportunity, and especially at the first team, like most players do. So I think it is kind of a wide range, but for the time being, I would say consistency.
There it is. There it is. Keeping it where it's at. Now, speaking of the consistency, he had another question for all of us on the thoughts of losing. Uh, yeah, man, David Cameron, head of player recruitment for us, our lead scout, credited with finding Fall, credited with securing Bawanga, uh, has moved on to the New England Revolution. Good on Soccer USA for finding the article and tossing it out there. I'm looking at it as well. It's a bit of a hit, but if you look at it, who was he connected with, right? Who did he work with? His history is with Bradley, right? His history is with Bruce, right? Um, East Coast. So I think maybe on his end it's just a better fit. Why he's making the move he's making. We'll see what we do on our end related to that. Yeah, it is definitely a shot. We've done well. He's done well for us. He'll now do well for them. Which, let's be honest, everybody's watched the Revolution as of late. They need help. They need a lot of help. Yeah, if you wanted to build from the ground up, that's a good side to go to at the moment. They need some changes, so maybe that's why. Again, we've done well. We've seen what we've done in South America so far. We'll see what happens next. I mean, again, the boys in this organization, right? John, you're not going to hesitate. He'll find his guys. He'll keep moving. It's what we do. Jose Bernal checking out for the night. Stay golden, sir. Hinchada de LAFC says, what's up, guys? Stopping by to say Dale Black and Gold. Gotta go to sleep, so listen to the rest of tomorrow. There you go. Have a good night, sir. Thanks for checking in with us. Soccer USA says he wants Kamara scoring at the Rose Bowl. Thinks he wants it. I think he does too. Diego Mancia is predicting also the Mueller signing, like Tony said, getting the main contract. Sounds feasible, that's for sure. Soccer USA says, how would you rate the coaching staff at this point of the season? Well, I think Araceli could probably say LAFC2's coaching staff. That would be an A, right? Agreed, Araceli?
Definitely an A.
Yeah, so for sure there. I think on our side, we need results. We're not getting results on the road. There's something to that. I know Martinez and his moment in Colorado kind of deep sixed us on that one. You can't really put that on the staff, right? Those kind of moments, but we can put it on the staff for certain changes and say the game that we won against the Galaxy had a lot to do with the coaching, a lot to do with tactics in that game and the approach. This last match, making the proper changes to secure this thing and finish it off. I always say when I look at, again, you want to talk about the manager, their system, what they're looking for. Final score, yeah, of course, you want results. But you look at the system, and what is the system producing? What is the run of play producing? And if you look at our expected goals, to me, the expected goals is kind of your marker. Expected goals for, expected goals against. That would be the marker of where the game plan is going, at least for me. And so for me, they're still producing opportunities. What he's built, what he wants from them, they're still producing the opportunities. They haven't finished it, and that's a hard one to put on a coach or a manager, right? Finishing is finishing. But if they're playing a system the way he wants them to play and they're producing the opportunities, I have a hard time taking a shot. So I would say probably give him a, a B, solid B right now. We just need to find a way to get, again, consistency week in and week out. We haven't had it yet. Tony, how would you rate the staff this season?
I would probably rate it like around a 7, I'm gonna say right now. But overall, it's like, again, it's still new couple players that came in, learning the system, a new player that we've had before, relearning a new system from the old system, what he's used to. But it's, again, the coaching staff has done a great job from what they've have accomplished. At the same time, they can't control what's on the field and like the ins and outs of in-game actions, because pen to paper, this is what we do, this is what we have to do, is one thing, but the actual actions, the actual actions that happens, the bounces, the hits of the crossbars, so on and so forth, they cannot control that.
Yeah, again, the guys have to do the job. Of course, you want to bring guys in to replace them if they're not doing the job. But what's the drop off, right? There's the hard part about it. Araceli, what would your grade be for the staff this year?
I'd probably say 8 out of 10 or B plus, whatever rating system you're using, because yes, it is hard to kind of control what is happening on the field, but at the same time, I think that's what kind of makes a good coaching staff is being able to make those last minute decisions or changes. I mean, obviously, it all ends up with Dolo of when he decides to do any subs. But looking at the staff as a whole, I mean, you have Marc Dos Santos, you have Enrique Duran, who was LAFC's head coach last season, and especially the Duran Dolo connection from the Vegas days. So
Hmm.
overall, I think they do have a good working relationship, but trying to translate that out onto the field can be a little challenging in some moments. But I think there's improvement for sure.
Yeah, and again, the other place to look is a game management and the substitutions that they have done and how those worked out. And I gotta be honest, there haven't been many games where I've been like, why that guy? Really not much at all. It's been like, well, that makes sense, you know. The game management has been fine substitution wise, and knowing the timing and when to make the changes. It's been good. It's been real good in some tough games. So right now, again, also the post Vela era. I'm gonna just say it right now until he's back, or if he does come back, it's still post Vela, and we still manage to be competitive and figure things out. And we are figuring things out. So yeah, good question, Soccer USA. That was a good one, man. I like it. Keep it up, sir. David Cordell from the Ellen Element checking in. Says love the podcast. Look forward to it every week. LFG, LAFC, and Ellen Element. There we go. It was good seeing you this week in the stadium as well, man. It's always great having a conversation. Yeah, man. Keep it up, dude. We love it. Love the style. No letting up. You know how it goes. We're confident you're going to do that. We always do. All right. So there it is, guys. Again, thank you all for checking in, giving us the amazing comments and all the style that you do. It's been good. It's been good. All right. So time to wrap this bad boy up like we always do. I know we lost man for a split second here. But we do have Tony and Araceli, survivors yet again. So I will start off with Araceli. Your final comments on the day.
Of course you did. Um My final comments, they're very simple, honestly. Whether if you're traveling to San Jose or if you're traveling to Salt Lake or just traveling in general, let's be honest. I'm wishing everyone a very fun, safe weekend. For those on the road, safe travels to you. And I know for me personally, I'm actually getting ready to kind of travel myself next week. I'll be heading up to Omaha for Open Cup. So definitely looking forward to that. Otherwise, just wishing everyone a fun weekend.
There we go. And don't get the runs on the road. You know what runs it is, you know better. She's laughing because she knows. Fast food that you just want to pass on, guys. I'll just leave it at that. The name is proper. Yeah, there's that. Safe travels to Omaha, though. Again, family up there, all love. That's for sure. Tony, I'm going to go to you next as Bam settles in. Your final thoughts on the day, sir.
Final thoughts on the day is be careful up there. Again, it gets a little bit rowdy. I know it's going to be a long trip for the people who are taking the bus. And also, unless you're driving flying on a plane the day of, just be careful. Is watch each other. It's still dangerous territory. You never know. Some people can act out. So just be responsible, be safe, be aware of your surroundings. And also remember, we do this for passion. We don't do it for glory. We do this as supporters because we want to. There's no there are some benefits with it because we get to do this day in and day out. But at the end of the day, we do it because it's our passion, not because it's a trend, not because it's we just jump on because it's, the winning team or anything. It's because we love it through the good and the bad. And that is my final say.
There it is, and it's been a lot of good for the black and gold these last few years. So since day one, let's be real. One season rough, that was it. It's nice to be a supporter of a side that works so hard at it. That's for sure. Well said, Tony. All right, Bam, you are in position where you need to be, back in the office. Final thoughts, but I wish there was more. Go for it, man.
Final thoughts for all those that are going up this weekend. Again, stay safe. Look out for people. If you're not going up there, go to a watch party. Go hang out with some friends. Go make new friends. If you do also want to, go watch Star Wars movies this weekend. I'll be doing that on Saturday, May the 4th. Me and a couple of friends are meeting up and going to one of our local cinemas that are doing the original trilogy. So I'm going to sit in the cinema and watch that for the first time. It's going to be cool. And there, just everyone that goes, just be safe. Again, mental health, it's a major thing. If your head's not right, your body's not right. So reach out to your friends, go watch a movie, go have a coffee, go have a drink, go for a walk, go for a hike. Just reach out to your friends and have a chat. Good conversations can save a life.
There we go. Or have some Blue Bantha milk because they apparently are selling it now for May the 4th over here in the States. So thought that was pretty funny. Kids have already killed off like a half gallon. So yeah, it's real. Yeah, as Bam says, look out for each other. It's essential, especially on the road trips. Let's be real. As Tony also mentioned, it is a dangerous road trip. I'll just put that right there. There have been incidents. There has been some ugly stuff with their supporters, both home and away. They can be a bit swirly. So head on a pivot, look out for each other, leave no one alone, tie up your scarf the old school way. Go out there and support. Win it in the stands, as they say, so our boys can win it on the field. Simple as that. Don't lose yourself. We need you to perform in the stands. Simple as that. Those taking the crazy bus ride up there, you are rock stars, all of you. Be careful on the way up and the way back to be fully functional, to get the job done. It can be a bit of a trap as well, getting on those buses and partying all the way up and all the way back. So pace yourselves, have a good time, get the proper rest, and actually sleep when you need to. I know I sound like an old man doing this, but otherwise, have a damn good time, right? Simple as that. I'll leave it at that for my final comments. Let's go with this. Final word, Araceli.
Stay golden.
Tony.
Stay golden, Los Angeles.
Bam.
Stay golden.
And for me, to all of you, stay golden, Los Angeles.
you for listening to the Heart of LAFC. Make sure to leave us a rating and review on iTunes or Stitcher. Shoulder to shoulder, the black and gold is taking over.